Welcome back, first grade. I have a book, kind of a funny book for you today. It's called If Dogs Were Dinosaurs, and it's by David M. Schwartz, and it's illustrated by James Warhola. And actually, the author, David Schwartz, has a little introduction page. He talks about this book, and he says, "Dear reader, when I was young, I loved to think about the sizes of things. One of my favorite songs went something like this. If ants were elephants and elephants were ants, I could squash an elephant." Imagine being able to squash an elephant. I didn't really want to do such a thing, but that song got me wondering. What if my dog were the size of a dinosaur? I loved the idea of walking my T-Rex sized dog down the street. How much food would she eat every day? I couldn't wait to find out. This is a book about sizes of things compared to each other. We call this relative size. You will see some of the hilarious results when big things become much smaller and small things become much bigger. For example, if a submarine sandwich grew to be the size of a real submarine, all of its ingredients would grow to the size of the sandwich. With a little bit of math, you can see how much bigger the sandwich would become, and then you could figure out what would happen to the meat, the cheese, and the sliced pickles. I've always loved math, and I've had lots of fun using it to answer the zany questions I like to invent. I hope you'll have fun too, and that you'll invent some questions of your own. So let's see, inside the book, happy reading and happy math. So here's the first page. There's that T-Rex sized dog. If your dog were as big as a dinosaur, reminds me a little bit of Clifford, right? Clifford the big red dog. His dinner would fill up your living room. Look at all those bowls. Look at him putting the food on the tongue. If Ralphie were as tall as a redwood tree, those are the tallest trees in the world, and look at how tall that tree is compared to that car. If Ralphie were as tall as a redwood tree, his big sister could land a hook shot on top of the Washington Monument. Look at all the little people and his big sister. And the Washington Monument is that big, tall building in Washington, D.C. Look at the basketball hoop on there. If the moon were a marble, moon in your hand, you could play baseball with the planet Earth. Silly. If your taste buds on your tongue were as big as rosebuds, your tongue could be a skateboard ramp. If germs were as big as gerbils, yikes. All those germs. Your handkerchief could cover a city the size of San Francisco more than 80 times. We do not want germs that big. If cruise ships were the size of kayaks, look at that guy. We know cruise ships are much bigger than that. Speedboats could race across your cereal bowl. If the Milky Way filled the USA, do you know the Milky Way is usually way up in the sky? It's a group of stars. But if it filled the USA, the solar system could fit in the palm of your hand. We know that's not true, right? You should look up those things up in the sky. If you made mountains out of molehills, the mole would tower over the Empire State Building. If a submarine sandwich were a real submarine, ooh, you'd have to be really hungry to eat that. But if it were a real submarine, a pickle slice could save your life. It's like a pickle raft. If a chocolate bar covered the mall, now that's my kind of chocolate bar, each almond would be the size of a blimp. That is a huge piece of chocolate. And if your hair were as thick as spaghetti, the meatballs would be as big as bowling balls. You'd have to really like meatballs and spaghetti, wouldn't you? Uh-oh, she's eating her own hair. Yikes. What would be your if? Can you give one to us? If, what's something that's usually pretty small, you make it bigger? Or something that's usually really big and you make it smaller? Can you come up with one? Have fun.